we have defined our goal. We want to attain Bhagavan, the supreme feature of the absolute truth. And we have heard that we have to perform those endeavors which are in connection with devotional service. It can be attained by pleasing, by being pleased. So it's something very personal. Srila Prabhupada many times said that bhakti is the personal path, very personal. We are trying to contact Krishna as a person. We are calling out to him when we chant in the morning. This morning we were chanting. If you have followed the meditation we gave, oh Lord, please give me a little humility. I am such a pride cock. So we are trying to communicate with the Lord. So bhakti is direct personal appeal to the Lord, and that's to be pleasing to him. So we heard that, having understood that we must take up devotional activities, the conclusion was here in 14, Tasmat, in the Bhagavatam or anywhere, when you see the word Tasmat, that means we have come to the conclusion. So many things were explained for so many verses. From verse 6 to verse 13, we were explained the goal, we were explained the nature of the absolute truth, we were explained that we must take at the process of bhakti. So now the conclusion is Tasmad ekena manasa Bhagavan satvatam pati shrotavya kirtitavyascha dhyeya pujascha nityada. One should constantly hear about, glorify, remember, and worship the personality of Godhead, who is the protector of the devotees. So we understood this is what we must do. And then in verse 15, we read that this process of hearing, chanting, dhyeya means meditating or remembering and worshipping. And particularly this dhyeya, which is remembering. When we chant, we hear, we actually remember. And then it goes deeper and deeper and becomes a meditation. And that meditation transforms into a worship. So this remembrance of the Lord is going to become, today we hear, it's going to become like a sword with which we can cut something. It becomes a weapon. We hear in the Bhagavad Gita as Jnanasina, the sword of knowledge. So here we have the sword of devotional service. Yadanadhyasena yukta karma granti nibandhanam chindanti kovidastasya. Then the question, Kona kuryat katharatim. With sword in hand, intelligent man cut through the binding knots of reactionary work, karma, by remembering the personality of Godhead. Therefore, who will not pay attention to his message? So there is something which is explained here, which is called the karma granthi. Granthi. Karma granthi. Granthi means a knot. Nibandhanam means very nicely tied. Like you make a knot here and it should not come out. So you tie it very strongly. You tie and you tie and you tie and you tie. This is what we have been doing for so many lifetimes. We have acted selfishly. We have acted for our own benefit, and we explained before, maybe for the benefit of our families, extended ego. We have acted independently for Krishna, from Krishna. And each and every action we performed created a little knot. And this knot will, they say, turn itself into a reaction. Karma bandhana is called. So here it says karma nibandhana. It's not just bandhana, it means it's tied, but it is very much tied. So we are lost in the meshes of the actions and reactions of our karmas, and there is no way that we can come out. As we know already, we are bound by the three modes of material nature, which makes one knot, and then there's another knot, then another knot, and then you take all the three and you make a bigger knot. And there are so many ropes like this which are binding us. We should realize actually how helpless we are in this material world. This is the realization that needs to dawn on us. It is said that as long as we have not realized how much we are in danger and how much we are bound in this world, and in other words, what is the nature of this world and the nature of our own condition, as long as we do not deeply realize this, we cannot truly take shelter of the spiritual master in a beneficial way. And we cannot purely call out to Krishna. Many times Prabhupada said, calling out to Krishna, kirtanam. It should be like the crying of a small baby. When the baby is just born, those who have had babies have witnessed this. The main characteristic of a small baby is helplessness, total helplessness. He cannot do anything, he cannot feed himself, he cannot move even. You put him on the back, he remains on the back. You put him on the belly, he remains on the belly. And when he is feeling uncomfortable, the only thing he can do is scream and call out, help, help, help. So we are in that situation that we think, oh, but I'm better than the baby, I can turn. No, I am a puppet. I don't turn, I'm being turned. I am being turned and I'm being roasted, sometime on the left, sometime on the right. So karma nibandhana. And liberation means freedom from karma. And karma means punaha janma. Our body is made of karma. So going to the spiritual world means to shed this body, shed it off. No more gross body, no more subtle body. This is the meaning of liberation. So how is this body going to dissolve? And today we are given here the secret. This body is going to dissolve through remembrance of Krishna. Remembrance means association. It's association. We know that very well when we love someone or hate someone. But particularly when we love someone and the person is not there. So what do? We think about them. And by this thinking, our separation is mitigated. We think of the person, we remember the times we were together and so on. So that is association. And so when we remember Krishna, there is a great power in that remembrance, because he is not just one of our acquaintances. of this world, he is a transcendental object. He's fully transcendental. He's pure, uncontaminated, purifying, like the sun is compared to the sun. The sun rays pass over the stool field in the villages. People pass stool in the fields. And the sun rays come and they dry up everything. And all the dirt is being sterilized. And after some time, you can go to that field, plant vegetables. There is no more dirt, there's no more bad smell, there's nothing remaining. It has been purified. This is the power of association with the Supreme Lord. This karma granti means we are like a bad smelling stool. And by association with the Lord, all these undesirable qualities, attachments, and all the reactions which are stored in our subtle body, they will be dried up. So, yadanudhyasina yukta karma granti nibandhana. What is the weapon? The weapon is Shravanam, Kirtanam, Smaranam, Vishnu, and particularly the remembrance. Because ultimately that is what we attain through all the methods of bhakti. It brings us to remembrance. At the time of death, we want to remember Krishna, not just chant his name, we want to remember. So, but one has to be a little intelligence, Kovidas, that those who are intelligence, they simply understand this, so they try to remember Krishna through all the processes of bhakti. Prabhupada said, you have to be just a little above average. Average what? The average fool, who doesn't understand anything, what's going on, is just attracted by all the sense objects, running behind everything. So those who are a little bit intelligent, they concentrate on the activities of bhakti, on remembering the Lord. And when we come to devotional service, we hear we should not desire liberation, although the goal is that we will be liberated. But bhakti is such a thing that bhakti lies beyond liberation. Bhakti, even though it is when we say kirtanam, shravanam, it's at the level of practice. We are practicing sadhana bhakti. But the activities of bhakti, they are directly the activities of the soul. And therefore, they are transcendental activities from the very beginning. And they are activities which are practiced in the spiritual world by the liberated souls. So this is very interesting. It means we engage in bhakti, it means we are already liberated. And it is just a matter of time when we actually become fully cleansed. But there is no need for separate endeavor for liberation. First of all, liberation is selfish, Prabhupada said. It is like the topmost sense gratification, is to get rid of all troubles of this world. That's what liberation is like for the Gyanis. Why they want liberation? Oh, finish with this world. We understood. It's just a big pot of troubles. And so, for my own sake, I desire liberation. So, this is a selfish desire. We do not desire liberation, we desire to serve Krishna. We desire to be in his association because this is what he requests from us. He says, come back to me. He's telling us to come back to him. He wants us with him in the spiritual world to play. We are missing, our spot is vacant there. So we want to return to please Krishna, Hari Toshana. We want to be with him. He created us for this only, for loving exchanges. And we have turned our back. We are Bayarmukha. So now, having heard the truth, we want to abandon all this independent, selfish attitude and want to return to him. So there is no separate endeavor for selfish liberation. There is only endeavor to remember our beloved, who is waiting for us. So we want to remember the Lord. And liberation purposes is a byproduct. It will happen automatically, as we remember the Lord. So we must associate with his name, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. And we must associate with his Leela. And that means Srimad Bhagavatam. Hearing the pastimes of Krishna in Srimad Bhagavatam, as well as hearing his teachings in Bhagavad Gita. That is the very beginning. We hear his teachings and then we hear his Leela. So, bhakti or remembrance of the Lord is that thing which makes everything successful. And we should learn how to add this ingredient to everything. Ultimately, we should learn how to practice pure bhakti, which is devoid of karma and jnana. But if we are still too attached, and we do have to perform some karmas, then we should add the tinge of bhakti and try to remember that even when we work for our own maintenance, when the check comes at the end of the month, the check goes at the lotus feet of the house deity. It is offered to him. That is called karma yoga. And that is the beginning of bhakti. Very, very primitive stage, but it is the beginning. And gradually, feelings will arise in the heart, so that we can actually desire to serve him directly. So